Our goal is to partner with the county, because there's 289 city-owned lots, and that's including all horizontal vacant space lots. That includes our parks too. So subtract the parks, it's around 285 lots. Those are all vacant. We don't have the resources to mow them all. We try to mow the ones that are in the most prominent areas, and we try to get to all of them once a year, but even then we come up short. So the long-term goal, the county owns another 480 lots. Okay. So between the two of them, there's over 700 that are vacant and that need to be redeveloped. So what our goal is to, okay, county, you have a lot right here immediately adjacent. The city has a lot. Let's combine those, and all of a sudden you've got a 100 by 125 foot lot. So our goal really is to get our housing values up by eliminating blight, by creating commercial economic development, get the housing values up, controlling crime and blight elimination, recover the housing values enough that people are willing to come in and build housing. So whether that's manufactured homes, starter homes, one of the things that people struggle with in the city is that the reality is there's a large cohort of low to moderate income community that we serve. That's the community that I serve, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So the housing focus that we need to have is really affordable, sustainable housing. So I want to see new construction, single family residential, but I grew up in an 1,100 square foot, 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom with no garage. And that I was comfortable there. And that's because I grew up in a low to moderate income household, and it was a sustainable house and we could afford it. And I think that's kind of the market that we need to start catering to over time.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good. Made me think about something with the construction, because I was just recently part of the construction job thing they had going on with Michigan Works Urban League and the city of Muskegon Heights.
City Hall. Yep.
Yeah, and is there a new project? Is there going to be something that's going to be continuous going on with the city?
Yep. So we want to partner with the Urban League, Michigan Works. Basically, what we've said since I started in the last year is, it's not the city's job to educate people on workforce, put people to work. That's not what we're best at. That's not what we should be focusing our resources on. Okay. But we should be a facilitator. We know those are needs in our community, but Michigan Works, Urban League, they're better at that stuff than I am, right?
Right.
So, but I have a nice city council chamber that is nice and spacious that they could use to teach classes, and then citizens like yourself, they don't have to drive to Grand Rapids or downtown to Michigan Works. They can come to City Hall and get a valuable skill, or get a valuable education. So that's what we've really tried to do, is become a facilitator. So every single month we've got stuff going on at City Hall. In March, this last March, we'll be doing it again this coming March. We had our first ever job fair at City Hall, and we put over a dozen people to work that day at different agencies and stuff. We had, I think 26 vendors participating, and we had about 250 people throughout the day, and we'll do that again. So, as we go forward, we're looking for new opportunities to partner. So, if we're not the best people to do it and provide the service, we want to find the best people that are the ones that are good at it and put them in the city. Even if it's just using our space for the day, that's a benefit to our residents.
Right.
So,
okay. And I know also last week you was handing out job applications. So are there any more city jobs that's available or that's coming up?
I'm always taking applications, because we keep you in the application hopper for a year. And so if someone retires or somebody gets a different job, I keep that crop of applicants for a year. And so, if you want to come work public works or water sewer, if you're, interested, we're looking to send a few people through the police academy, local citizens. We're looking to send a couple people through the fire academy. And then that'll probably result in part-time work, because to be a full-time officer, you got to go through the field training office and all that kind of stuff. But I can put you through FTO on a part-time basis, and as long as you're employed by the city of Muskegon Heights, I can pay you minimum wage and send you to the police academy on our dime. So we're looking to do that with a few people, find a crop of 5 to 10 part-timers, because that helps me control overtime. If 2 officers on a shift take vacation, I have to call in other full-time officers right now, and that's time and a half, additional pension contributions to them. Right. It's cheaper for me, even if I'm paying $18 an hour, it's cheaper for me to have a well-paid part-timer that I can call in and be like, hey, next week can you work a shift? And so I want to try to afford that opportunity to residents that are going to be eligible for police academy and send them through, because then, through attrition, or if somebody retires, if there's a full-time spot available, they're going to be first in line because they're already on our part-time roster.
Right, so, you got the hands-on training.
Yeah, I get that a lot, why don't you have more residents as police and fire? And quite candidly, there's 2 reasons. First and foremost, you can't just walk in and, if you can get a CDL in 6 months, I can bring you on and you can learn public works, water, sewer. That's kind of stuff that, there's no pre-education component other than being willing to learn.
Right.
Like, but police and fire, there's certain certifications that you need walking in the door. You can't just walk in and be a police officer. You can't just walk in and be a firefighter.
Right.
So it's hard for us because then it's so say like I have a vacancy in fire department, I have to fill that vacancy now. But it takes me, first of all, they only offer the fire academy so often, and that takes, I think, 12 weeks. So, and then you have training beyond that you have to do, and testing. And then I got to fit you for turnout gear and all this other shit. So, I mean, it takes...
And being a firefighter is hard. I did that in the military. I did it in the Navy on the flight deck. So it might seem easy, but it's actually hard work.
No.
It's
very
difficult.
hard. My cousin is Fontaine Love, so I saw him go through
Lieutenant Love.
transition.
And it's
was always lifting, still is.
Yep.
And
Fontane's a great guy.
that suit, that equipment is heavy.
That turnout gear is like 70 pounds.
Yeah, it's about 75 pounds.
Yeah. So I think,
heavy.
I get that question a lot from residents, like, why don't you have more residents that are police and fire? It's because there's really quite a few qualifications you have to go through, and it's a process. So our answer to that is part-timers, like, so we can start people part-time and send them through those academies and get them on our roster, and that way eventually we can fill in more full-time spots. So,
That's cool.
yep.
You have any other questions? I'm sorry.
How far in the future will it be for us to see like police officers on bicycles like we do downtown Muskegon?
Yeah, so we have like 12 nice police bikes that we don't use because we don't have the manpower to staff them. So one thing we're actually looking at doing, as opposed to like police officers, is actually establishing a cadet program or a reserve officer program.
I said that.
So like, say as an example, one of you guys, like, it's a volunteer position, but you get a radio, we fit you with the uniform, and we just put you in prevalent areas that we want a presence. So like you'd be on a bike or on a walking path, and you'd have an officer that's full-time that's working, that would be your main point of contact. But that, I could put, like, I'd love to put 2 reserve officers out at the park all day at Mona Lake Park, because we get a lot of activity out there that we'd rather not have. There's a lot of great stuff going on out there, but there's also people making bad choices. So, if people aren't purchasing their boat launch tickets, or if people are loitering, or if people are like, sitting in their car, like not doing things they should be doing, there's somebody out there that doesn't need to even approach that car, but they can radio a police officer and be like, you need to come out here. So getting eyes on the community and taking some ownership, it's not necessarily going to translate to full-time officers. And this is another thing citizens often don't know. A full-time officer, day one, makes $18.37 an hour, which is on the lower end of average for a new police officer. But so that wage is around $36,000 a year. But a new officer costs the city, with benefits, pension, and salary, $100,000 a year. So, if people will tell me, like, you need one more officer on each shift, and I'm inclined to agree with them, but that's 4 new officers at least, and that's $400,000. So, and that's an expensive addition to the budget. So what we're trying to do is really recover revenue and build up the tax base. The more that I can increase the value of housing, the more I can increase the value of commercial property, the more that's reflected in tax base. And when I have more tax base, I have more revenue to do more public services. So, but in the short term, we have to come up with creative solutions like a reserve officer program. And next year, we're looking at doing seasonal DPW for the first time. So, in a long time, not the first time ever, but first time in the last several years. Yeah.
And also with the Muskegon Heights Police Department, I just seen recently, within the last month and a half, 2 months, Muskegon Heights police officers are the only police officers in the county with the webcam, with the body cameras, right?
They're not only the only officers in the county that all consistently wear and operate body cameras, but we are the first police agency in the state of Michigan with that model of body camera, which actually features unlimited data storage and a front-facing camera, so people can see themselves being recorded.
I've seen that.
And it doubles as the microphone for the radio, so it's pretty useful. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, so what we're doing is we're making a lot of capital investments in our departments, especially police this year, but every department's going to get their turn. So if I can't have the most police officers that I would like, I need to have the best police officers I can. That means giving them the equipment appropriate to do the job. So as an example, we just bought tasers for the entire department too, because say unfortunately somebody's making a wrong decision and a police officer approached them. Before, the only people that had tasers were the command units, the sergeants. So the frontline guys didn't even have them. And if that's the case, and this person decides to resist, all of a sudden it's a hand-to-hand fight situation, and that's not good. It's not safe for the officer. It's not safe for the offender. So we're trying to give them more tools in their toolkit to be successful.
Okay, that's good.
Less than lethal options is what we call those. Yeah.
Okay. And as a city manager, because I see, like, as far as downtown with the Watch Us Go, Watch Muskegon Go campaign, Are you working on trying to help like get grant money for that too, as far as or is there like a version of that's happening inside the city of Muskegon Heights? Because I see outside like downtown Muskegon and other communities where they're making developments and everything, but it's like I don't see nothing going on happening in the city of Muskegon Heights.
Oh yeah, and see, I think I would politely disagree with you. I think we've got a lot of new stuff going on. Yeah.
Now I know from just talking to you now, but just
so yeah, the DDA, our DDA, they're working on streetscape improvements. So like new lighting down, like all historic post lights that we got downtown, like those nice like kind of lantern-looking lights and stuff. A lot of those are out, and that's a good example. So like people assume that we either can't afford to replace them or we're just lazy and not changing them. But actually, they're so old that you can't get the ballast for them anymore. So once they burn out, they're burned out. And so the goal for the DDA is to start to make those kind of strategic investments to show people like we are taking pride in this community. We are going to like replace these streetlights. We are going to fix these sidewalks. We are going to replace these dead trees. And all that stuff is in the works right now. Like we're taking bids on a lot of those projects. And you see there's a lot of stuff that happened this year as far as community cleanups and new business development. You'll continue to see that. A good example, the ABC warehouse buildings. They're on the corner of Sherman and Sanford, and they're big empty buildings behind a fence. They've been vacant forever. We filled those within the first 4 months of me being on the job. It's not just me that did it. It was a team effort. But, now if you drive by that, like, it's all mowed. They cleaned up all the overgrowth. They've got the buildings all secured. And, like, they're using those buildings for commercial storage. And, like, so they're storing people's boats, RVs, all that kind of stuff. You got RVs and boats from all over West Michigan that are being stored in Muskegon Heights. My boat's being stored in Muskegon Heights. So, And so I think there's a lot going on. And like the Watch Us Go campaign is something that we want to be a part of. So like Chris Dean, our fire chief, he goes to the large board, like Watch Us Go board meetings. And then I go to the municipal meetings, the small table meetings with all the other city managers. And one of the things that you'll see coming out are actually banners down Sherman Boulevard from the highway all the way to the lake, and they're all going to be themed for each city. But they're all going to be Watch Us Go banners. So we'll have our own Muskegon Heights Watch Us Go banners. Roosevelt Park will have theirs. Muskegon and Norton Shores will have theirs. So like we want to participate. We don't want to necessarily be like, well, we need our own marketing campaign. We want to say we need to understand that we're regional partners and we can put our own local flavor, local spin on something. Why reinvent the wheel? It's working. The Watch Us Go thing is a popular thing. Let's take our own piece of that. Let's be part of that. And the good thing is everybody wants everyone to be part of that. So the more people participate, the better it is for everybody.
Any final thoughts, Cruella?
For me?
Yeah, or any other questions?
Jake.
I'm saying,
I've done all the talking.
Any questions? Any more questions?
No, I'm good.
Curveball?
No.
No curveball?
I can handle a curveball.
I'm trying to think of a curveball real quick.
What would you like to say? I got it.
Okay.
What would you like to tell the citizens of Muskegon Heights in terms of the growth? Because until we had this conversation, pretty much that's what we were seeing, but now we have heard what you're saying and we see it from your perspective.
Sure.
What can you tell us to do
I think
as citizens?
I would challenge the citizens, honestly. I would issue a challenge to get more involved because, I mean, we, as an example, next week, Monday, we have a special meeting that's posted and everything. It's a public meeting, and it was set at our last council meeting, which was just on Monday. And
is it a bid meeting?
It's a special council meeting concerning medical marijuana facilities in the city of Muskegon Heights. So, and people hear that and panic until we actually tell them what it is we're looking at, and then most people have been like, yeah, we do need that, because it's not point of sale marijuana. It's not like buying medical marijuana over the counter. It's basically factories, like commercial production for dispensaries. So the city council is considering all these issues, like what kind of licensing should we have. And for the most part, despite putting it on social media, despite trying to get people out there, putting out press releases, going on 103.7 or other radio stations, talking to you guys, we don't get a lot of participation. And that's something that is not unique to Muskegon Heights. It's hard to get people to public meetings. Like, it just kind of is. But I would challenge the citizens to get involved because we've got a lot of cool stuff going on. We actually have an AmeriCorps team, a full-year AmeriCorps team coming to the city. We'll have 2 full-time AmeriCorps members that are going to be working with the citizens to establish neighborhood associations. So, so we're actually going to be doing a lot of data collection, and then actually city's going to set aside some funds to try to put together about 5 city-sponsored neighborhood associations. So
that's pretty good.
Yeah, we've got a lot of good stuff going on, but a lot of people don't know about it because and it's understandable. You go to work, you come home, you get your kid from school, you got to make dinner. Like, people are busy, but I think people in Muskegon Heights genuinely care about the community, and in order to really keep in touch, you got to get involved.
You got to get involved, yes. Yep. Like one of our slogans is better get familiar. How can people get involved? Like, when are the meetings? Because I think it's the first and third Mondays.
Second and fourth
Or
Monday.
second and fourth Mondays every month.
Yep. Second and fourth Mondays of the month. City Planning Commission is the third Thursday of every month.